Before this season started, if you were to ask me who would win in a Kim versus Tony war, I would have gone with Kim 100% of the time. Boston Rob is right. Tony is a boss. Hey everybody, how's it going? I am the Survivor Dude. Welcome to another video about the latest episode, Friendly Fire. And my gosh, did that not go how I thought it was going to go. I mean, it kind of did, but not in the way I thought it was going to go. I thought Jeremy was going to play the coin flip. I thought that Tony was going to maybe play his idol to save Jeremy. But what I did not think is that they actually gathered enough numbers to take out the godmother herself. Kim Spradlin is gone. One of my winner picks is down. Winner pick down. Although, to be fair, one of my winner picks was going tonight because I picked Jeremy as my other winner pick. But yeah, Kim is off the island. Kim, you shouldn't have stepped down. I know it's not like you were competing against Tony for that individual immunity idol, but you have the longest arms out of any woman, and you stepped out. Denise, I always thought had the least amount of chance to win because she's so tiny. But anyways, he's at it again. He's at it again. Tony is doing it again, and I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think it was possible, man. And he won immunity again. I am so happy right now. This is so crazy. Because we're getting closer and closer to the end. We're at the final 7 right now. That means that we are 2 votes away from the finale. So does that mean this 2 hours that... Oh, is it just this one and then the next one? Holy shoot. Anyways, but yeah, okay. So, nothing that I thought was happening... Okay, I did predict that Kim was going to go next, but I did not think it was going to be like this. Like, I thought Tony, Nick, Michelle, and... Well, actually, I guess that is what happened, isn't it? Like, except for Ben was involved in that group. I guess we hadn't really seen how close Tony and Ben are. But okay, let me just start right there. I love that scene where Ben finds an idol and Tony's like, "Come on, man, you're gonna try to hide it from me?" And then they were so happy that Ben ends up carrying Tony in the woods, and he's like, "We both got one. We both got." How crazy is that? Tony and Ben, the 2 biggest idol hunters, or 2 of the biggest idol hunters in Survivor history, both found an idol this season. Something I didn't think was gonna happen, and now they both have one. And now this puts it in a very precarious position for Ben. Because I don't know who's... Because, okay, here's the thing. We all know Tony has a great strategic mind. We all know that he's really good at turning things to his advantage in that way. But what we found out this vote was that Tony also has a strategic... a social ability to sway the vote. Because Ben was against Jeremy. He was against him 100%. In fact, she was so against him that the reason they were voting off Jeremy was Nick's idea to appease Ben. That was the whole thing. It was Nick's idea to appease Ben. And now because of that, I don't really know what's going to happen next. I'm like a dog walking in circles trying to find the best... But yeah, Tony was able to switch Ben's vote. Now, here's the thing. I know you guys are sick as me as the... What are we going to do? Are you going to vote that way? I'm going to vote this way. What are you doing? I'll play my events. I love that Jeff this time made fun of it a bit. Like, here they go. They're off to the races. Ben's sitting down. Sarah's sitting down. Oh, no, now they're getting into it. That was great because I'm sick of that. Okay? I'm sick of Tribal Council whispering. Here's the thing. I don't know. Tribal Council whispering might have changed something this time. I don't know if it did or not. I really feel like it must have been on Kim at the beginning, but they must have not been confident. But Sarah is still working with Tony, and we were worried about that. I was worried that maybe she would try to come after him, but no, it makes sense because she doesn't really have anyone else she really wants to work with in the long run, and I think that she's smart for sticking with Tony right now. Because they're only when they're coming after Tony, not her, unless he wins immunity again, which he's won 3. Do you realize Tony is just 2 immunity challenges away from tying the record for most immunity challenges won in a single season? Since when did Tony become an immunity beast? Hey, some time has passed. He must have gained some perspective and maybe did a few puzzles with Spencer. I don't know. But the fact that he's playing like this again, let me just say, when in the early part of this season, where you had Tony said, right now I'm playing calm, and I'm I'm letting them lower their guards out, they're putting their guards lower, and wham, knockout punch. I thought he was just, as players do, they, speculate, like, yeah, I'm going to win this game, I'm going to rule the game. I didn't think it was going to happen, but now it's in a position. And he's not as safe as I thought it was going to be. I thought everyone was going to kind of need him. Jeremy needs him. Michelle wants to work with Jeremy. So that's the kind of thing. Sarah needs him. Ben, right now, I don't know if he wants to work with him or not. Ben is just like this leaky ship, it seems like. Once again, I'm just going all over the place, but that's okay because this is Tony. But I love where he found out from Ben that Kim was bringing his name up. And so he goes to Nick. He's like, hey, Nick, you hear anyone bring my name up? No. Really? Because Ben just told me that Kim and Denise brought it up. Deer in headlights. It's like deer in headlights. Like, Tony has that type of confidence and brazen that makes you kind of panic. And I think that's the thing. With this, a lot of people panicked. And I'm not sure. Okay. It was definitely the right move for Tony because Kim was coming after him. It was the right move for Sarah because she's aligned with Tony. Was it the right move for Ben? You know what? Probably. Maybe not. No, because Jeremy really doesn't like him, and he doesn't really like Jeremy. So it might not have been a good move for Ben. It might have been a better move for Ben to just slick in the background with the girls and then play his idol at 5. There's enough targets he could stall till 5. But I think it behooves Ben right now to be kind of in the middle. I mean, if he's close with Tony and close with the other side. But I think right now he's like, I don't think anybody trusts Ben because he's a talker. He blabs. He's not great at keeping secrets. We can tell. Okay. I don't know about you, but I 100% thought that when Jeremy didn't play his 50-50 advantage, I thought he was going home. I thought it was like, oh, great, now he's gone. But, I don't know. I think things are really crazy right now. It's impossible to tell what's going on. We're in voting blocks, alliance, trust clusters. That's what's going on right now, because it's switching every vote. And, but okay, here's what I think. Sarah was pissed to Tony, about Tony, and everything he did, but she got right back with him, and she's solid with him now. I think that those two, if they're going to the end. And how crazy would it be that from season 28 in Kagayama, they're like, can you imagine 2 cops at the end? But I love, and Tony's putting up everywhere. He's like, let's have the 2 cops, the firefighter, and the army guy all at the end. Come on, man. I like that. He's playing up the services angle. But can you imagine after all this time we saw that original alliance all those years ago on Kagayama? It was like, cops are us, 2 cops at the end. Can you imagine if that actually happens? I'm just like dumbfounded of the craziness going on right now. But it's one step at a time. We're not there yet. Okay, so it's at final 7 right now. Tony can play his idol next, gets him at least a final 6. If he needs to. There might be enough infighting between Jeremy and Ben that one of them needs to go. And honestly, I think at this point it's probably going to be Jeremy. because I think he has Michelle with him, and that's really it. I think Denise will probably feel a little indignant about the whole, are you sure? Because it's not just tonight's vote, it's next night's vote. She's like, I'm sure. But I will say, I like that by Denise, her to say, enough! I've had enough. I've had enough whispers. I know what I'm doing. Let's just vote. You know, I like that from Denise. But I don't know who's going to be, like, yeah, it's crazy what's going to happen next. Now, we all know that right now, the two biggest targets in the game is Jeremy and Tony. Tony has an immunity idol. Jeremy now has the coin flip, although Michelle will probably want it back. But I think those two are working as a tandem, so it's just like, if either one of them are coming under fire, they'll use it. I think that the thing moving forward is like, can Tony afford to have Jeremy in the game at Final 6? I don't know. Because let's say Ben's voted off next. Let's say they blindside him and he goes with an idol in his pocket. Then let's say, I don't know, Denise. Let's just say Denise goes next. That leaves us with a final 5 of Michelle, Nick, Jeremy, Sarah, and Tony. I still think it would be, I don't know, it's so crazy because, like, we all know that nobody, except for maybe Sarah, wants to go to the final 3 with Tony. I mean, even Jeremy won't want to, but then again, it might be a good idea for Tony to go to the end with Jeremy. Because while Jeremy is definitely a threatening player, I think right now Tony has played the more outlandish and flashy game. So nuts. This whole game is... This is what we loved about Cagayan, because with Tony in the game, you never knew what was going to happen next. So now we have 2 idols on the board. The 2 biggest idol hunters of the season, Tony and Ben, have them. We got Michelle's coin flip still on the board. And we have the... let's see, that's the only advantages on the board right now. We got a lot of coins going to the edge of extinction. Good on Natalie for being able to be the one to finish first. Good for you. I think you should have gotten an extra coin if you finished first. That would have been nice. But then again, Natalie's just rolling in dough over there anyway. So, I know I'm all over the place with this, but just different things are popping into my mind. I want to say, I don't think I've ever in my entire life seen Boston Rob give somebody props. You know, even when Russell did his amazing move in Heroes vs. Villains to get Tyson voted out, I never saw him say, wow, that Russell's pretty good. You know, like, he's always like, that guy's crazy, that's nuts, we gotta get rid of him. But he's like, wow, Tony's a boss, man. That's exactly the words he used. And I'm just, like, I was like, did I just seriously hear Boston Rob say that? Did I seriously hear Boston Rob give Tony a compliment on how good a player he is? I am shocked by this, really. Oh man, I keep on forgetting we have to have one of those guys from Edge of Extinction come back. Now, let's look at this in a best case scenario. Who would be the best player for... Since Tony is like the one I'm rooting for right now, even though it's probably not likely, even though he's the one I'm rooting for, he's the one that's playing the best crazy game out there right now. So, who would be the best player for Tony to come back into the game? I think Natalie, if she comes back, that's a number for Jeremy. I don't think that's necessarily the best, but it might work for a vote or two. Danny, I don't think would work with him. Ethan, probably not. I think that those are both more emotional players, and I think they just wouldn't trust Tony or use his chaos to their advantage. Boston Rob could. He might be like, look, I gotta work with Tony because otherwise I'm not making it to the end. Tyson, I think Tyson knows that when he gets back in the game, he just wants to target whoever could be a threat for an immunity, and right now that's Tony. Tony's won the most. Tony has won the most challenges. How crazy is that? Who had that dibs at the beginning of the season? No idea that he would even make it this far. I still go back in my mind that I was listening to a podcast that was drafting different Survivor players. And no, not only did Tony go last, somebody actually made a joke, maybe I shouldn't even draft him. Can I go undrafting? And I'm like, who's laughing now, sucker? But to be fair, none of us thought he could do this. And I want to keep going forward with the alliance and strategy talk. Okay, Nick is now in an interesting position because we saw an interesting possible alliance crop up between Nick, Michelle, and Denise, which I think would be probably good for Denise because I think she right now would have a better resume. But I think the problem is none of those really are leaders. I mean, Nick kind of is. But, Michelle is not necessarily someone who controls a vote, who orchestrates a blindside. She goes along with the votes. Denise is also someone, so she's not a person to push for. Like, when she's part of a group, part of an alliance, she'll give a name and stuff. But she's not like, for example, Tony is what's the word? Trendsetter, let's say that. Or a pace setter, that's a better word, where he'll set the pace, where he'll be like, okay, this person needs to go, and he'll keep trying everything to get that person out. Tony's not worried about, is it going to blow back on me? No, he's going to go forward, he blazes it. Kim was another pace setter. Jeremy's a pace setter. Sarah is also a pace setter. So, but those guys, I think, are more like, they go along with the votes. Now, if it's an obvious target, which right now it is, it's Tony and Jeremy, and whatnot. You know what would be a good move by Tony and Sarah next week, actually? To get rid of Michelle. That, I think, thinking about it now, that would be the better move, because right now, Jeremy wants to go to the end with Michelle, and Michelle's working with him, right? Michelle is like a lower T player, one of these hyenas, as Tony would put it, that wants to work with him, that would be even willing to save his life with a coin flip thing this time. So, Michelle might be a bigger threat to Tony's game because she might be taking a spot to the end with Jeremy that he wants. Man, if this final three was, I just had this thought. If this final three was Tony, Sarah, and Jeremy, do you realize that'd be the second time Jeremy went to the end with two Cagayan players? That's just hilarious. Okay, sorry, I love it. Actually, something I noticed recently, every time there's been a season with Cagayan players, one of them at least has gone to the end or won. Because we've only had two, Second Chances and Game Changers, but in Second Chances, Spencer and Tasha went to the end with Jeremy, and in Game Changers, Sarah won. So there's something about this Cagayan crew. And Sarah and Tony are the only people left in the game that's not on the edge of extinction that played in the same original season together. They're the only ones left part of that group. It's amazing to me that these Cagayan players aren't, like, honestly, if I'm on a season with Cagayan players, if I had played and got brought back on a returning season, I don't care if it's Alexis. I'm voting her off, I don't care. Maybe if it's Jatia. No, I'd vote off Jatia. Anyway, but there's something about that season and these players, and they're playing their butts off right now. So, as for predictions, what's going to happen next, I think it might behoove Jeremy and Sarah, it might behoove Tony and Sarah to go after Michelle. Because Jeremy right now still wants to work with them, but he probably won't want to go to the end with either one of them. But if it takes out Michelle, it really limits his options. So let's give a count. The people left in the game is Tony, Sarah, Jeremy, Michelle, Nick, Ben, and Denise. That's it. So I see two possible final threes coming out of this. Of course there's more, but these are the ones that I feel like are the most likely. We either get all the lower T players to ally with each other, because we started to see that tonight with Denise, Nick, and Michelle, and those three go to the end, and one of those three wins. Or we have Tony, Sarah target one of the smaller characters, maybe Nick, I think Tony might want to go after Nick, because Nick kind of flip-floppy. But then again, he did vote with him, so at least I think. There was, 3 votes for Jeremy? There's 3 votes for Jeremy. We know Kim was one. We know Michelle was another one. Although, thinking about it now, if they had that many numbers, maybe it would have just behooved them to go after, for her to just pile on against Kim. That means Michelle was kind of out of the loop with everybody else. But anyways, yeah. So, we have that, or we could have a Sarah, Ben, Tony finals. Because Ben has been getting a lot of airtime, but more like the Dodo edit, like the third place finisher edit. Michelle's been getting a lot of airtime, but I don't know if that's a finalist edit or a rival to the winner edit. You know, like the one that you think, oh, this one could win or this one could win. You know, so it's impossible to tell for me right now which one would win. I'm hoping that it's the Tony, Sarah, Ben finalists. But I think Sarah needs to get rid of Tony somewhere along this line if she wants to win this. Because right now, she's Tony's partner, and Tony is the one that everyone's eyes are focused on. If she wants everyone to look at her, she needs to get the big blinder out of the way. I don't know if Tony has left her with a lot of options of when to do it, though. If she does it now, she'd be very jeopardizing her game. I think that you vote off Tony right now, that leaves you with just Ben as your ally, and I think that you're a big target too. I think it might have to be like final 5. Ooh, actually I just realized that means Tony just has to survive. Is 7 now, so he just has to survive 3 votes, and then he has a chance to make it to the end. 4 votes. I keep on forgetting someone from the edge of extinction is coming back. Okay. But, looking at this whole game, I'm just ecstatic and I don't know what's going to happen next. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be amazing. I'm just, MVP. Yep. Has to go to Tony. I thought about it for a second to see if anybody else. Nope, it has to go to Tony. It was a Kim versus Tony war, and Tony reigned supreme. You know, Tony once complained that he didn't get an edit like Kim. Well, now, you beaten Kim. How do you like that edit? MVP goes to Tony. As for predictions, what's going to happen next? I think it might be Jeremy or Michelle. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Until then, I am the Survivor Dude, saying so long.